channel, sports fans. Okay, let's get into this one right here. I'm not sure if you heard this. Gilbert Arenas and Kwame Brown have been debating over various issues about the NBA, right? And one of them was about drug testing in the NBA. We won't even get into that. That's just a lot of hearsay. But they also talked about the fact that LeBron James was better than Kobe Bryant in the 2000s. And Gilbert Arenas says that it was because not only one, because LeBron took the Cavs with a bunch of nobodies to the NBA Finals at 22 years old, but because he was winning MVPs over Kobe Bryant in the 2000s with a bunch of nobodies. And when he says this stuff, he just exposes a lot of things, right? And they were talking about also that Kobe Bryant, he had a bad record against LeBron James in the 2000s. I don't even know if we want to talk about that, but it's just simple. That means nothing. That team that Kobe Bryant had was pretty much trash. Everybody knows that. LeBron pretty much got to handpick all his opponents, all his teammates on those Cavs teams, basically start when he came over there. He did not get no players out the draft and groom them and make them better. He basically got number ones and number twos from other teams. He played with Gauskas, who was All-Star teammate, All-Star before he came, the season before he came, in the second season that LeBron was in the league. And then after that, he started getting other teams, either number one players or number twos, right? When we look at those Cavs teams with Larry Hughes, Boozer, we can just go on down the line. Mo Williams, did I say Wally Zerbiak? Ben Wallace, he got Shaq at one point. He just got a slew of guys, Antoine Jameson. Basically, you name them, they were there. And he didn't do too much winning. Yes, he went to the finals, and it just exposes how weak that East was when he went to the finals. And Kobe couldn't get to the finals until 2008 because Kobe was playing in the West. Kobe was playing in the West. And let's not forget, it took really for Shaq to come over in 2006. I don't know where Gary Payton was playing when he came to the Heat with Shaq. I don't know if he came from the West. Kevin Garnett came over from the West. A lot of players came over from the West to the East to make this even any kind of competition in the East. That's how bad the East was in competition. And a lot of those players were old too, right? Even Allen Iverson went to the East. No, he ended up going to the West and playing with the Nuggets. But even with those players I mentioned, they were kind of old when they came over to the East. And there was really no competition in that East except for old players and stuff like that. But it just exposes how he went to the finals in 2007. Gilbert Arenas won't talk about that. He won't even talk about that because if you take a bunch of nobodies, like Gilbert Arenas says, to the finals, well, what is your competition in the East? It's nothing. Imagine Michael Jordan, his first two seasons, not making playoffs, and then go to the playoffs his third season, and he lost in the second round. I think LeBron lost in the second round of Detroit, even though he took them to a game 7 and had a 3-2 lead going back home. So Michael Jordan only going to the playoffs one time. His next year makes it to the finals and beating whoever was in that East in the 80s, like Detroit or Boston. That would be ridiculous. And not having a Hall of Fame teammate, not having a top 75 teammate, not having an all-star teammate. How ridiculous does that sound? It doesn't show how great LeBron really was. In that Eastern Conference Finals in 2007, he was not that great. He had a couple good games, but he had more bad games than he had good games. And then when he went to the finals, it exposed that he had no business in the finals against real competition, right? And they say 2011 was his worst meltdown. Well, you could use that as an example because he was playing with a super team, but 2007 was the biggest meltdown by a superstar in NBA Finals, 22 points per game. He had like almost 6 turnovers, shot like 60-something% from the line, 23% from three. It was just horrible. What did he shoot like from the field? Like 35%. It was outrageous. So that was the biggest meltdown of a superstar of all time. Now, Gilbert Arenas claims that LeBron was better than Kobe Bryant in the 2000s because he won 2 MVPs. Well, you won 2 MVPs, and yes, you got to give it to him. He was playing great at that time. Nothing against that, but we know he melted down in 2009. You could say he melted down in 2008. The same performance that he put on in the 2007 finals, he turned around in the playoffs against the Celtics, basically did the same thing and shot 38% from the field, 5 turnovers. What was it? Something like 30 something percent from three, 60 something percent from the line. It was ridiculous. And he still took that Boston team to a game 7. So again, it's exposing how weak that East was when you could play like that and you still take that Boston team to a game 7. Going to 2009, 2010, yes, he won the MVP. We know he melted down against, it wasn't a super team, Orlando Magic, who was I think they were a number 3 seed. He melted down in that series. In 2010, he melted down against Boston, who was a number 4 seed, a super team, a super team. A supposedly old super team that these guys, Ray Allen and Kevin Garnett, was 10 years plus into their career. I think, who is this? Paul Pierce, he was like 10 years into his career. That Boston team only had the number 1 seed in the East one time in like 6 years. They was beat up and broke down, never won an MVP together. I mean, and LeBron had the number 1 seed over these guys 2 years in a row. And we all know now that he did not want to face Kobe in the finals. That's why he melted down on purpose. And in 2009, at the beginning of the season, he said that he was going to wear the number 6 the next season in the 2010-2011 season. So he was going to take off the number 23 and wear the number 6. And it's so-called happened that where was he going the next season? Right, he was going to Miami. So all that was already premeditated. And even when we listen to First and 10, Skip and I don't know who it was. Skip and somebody was debating on that show the day after LeBron melted down against the Celtics. And not only did he say LeBron told the media that he was going to wear the number 6 the next season, and like I said, he happened to go to Miami. But not only that, he was telling his teammates to basically stand down in that fourth quarter, and he waved the white flag. Folks, he didn't want to see Kobe Bryant. We talked about this, and Kobe Bryant was going to destroy this guy. It was no more GOAT debate when Kobe Bryant destroyed this guy. You got to remember, he was beating Kobe in these regular season games when Kobe basically had no team after Shaq left. And yes, he was basically beating Kobe. But he already knew now Kobe had a team with Lamar Odom, Artest, um, who is this? I can't remember the guy's name. The All Star center. Now he had a team. Kobe Bryant was going to lead that team and destroy whoever it was in the NBA Finals. And Kobe Bryant had already went to the 2008 Finals, the year when LeBron melted down against the Celtics in the playoffs. And Kobe Bryant was going to destroy him. And not because Kobe Bryant didn't like him. They were good friends. But because all the heat that Kobe Bryant took from the media, all the MVPs that LeBron got, and Kobe, he really didn't say he felt that he should have got him, but Kobe maybe could have got him. Remember, Kobe played in a more difficult conference than LeBron James, and you can see that since LeBron went to the West, he really hasn't done nothing against great competition. When he goes to the finals against great competition, he does not make his teammates better to beat his competition, right? Even with these super teams, he comes out on the bottom more than he comes out on the top. You know what I'm saying? Yes, he can stat pad and get his stats up in a losing cause and barely win the games. Win the series, going to all these game 7s. When he does win, when he gets blowed out, guess what? He loses 4-0 or 0-4. He loses 1-4. He loses 2-4. Never seen a game 7 in all finals losses. And we call that 6 finals blowout losses because this guy never seen a game 7. Those are blowout losses. And if you guys say, oh man, he went to game 6, how's that a finals blowout losses? Well, in a lot of those game 6s, guess what? It was over. By the time the fourth quarter came, it was over. When the fourth quarter started, he was just in there stat padding, getting his stats and stuff like that with his super team. So even in 2018, this guy had the competition is weak. When he was in Cleveland the second time, it was weak. It was so weak that he just laid back, didn't never get the number 1 seed except for one time. each when he was in Miami and Cleveland had those super teams. Only won the conference one time in both stops. Well, two times, however you want to say it. One at one time in Cleveland, one at one time in Miami. That's incredible. He was in those stops in those places for 4 years. In 4 years, he couldn't even win the conference two times. What about three times? Michael Jordan in all his finals won the conference 5 times in the tougher East, where guys play positions, where guys play defense. Okay, Michael Jordan, and he wasn't on those super teams. Let me tell you what a super team is. When we talked about before, LeBron has never, ever, ever, ever led a team to a championship. And when we talk about never led a team to a championship, we talk about you can't come together with other number ones and lead them to a championship. It doesn't work like that. You can't come together with other teams' number one franchise players who were number ones and lead that team to a championship. It don't work like that, folks. When we talk about the Big Three Boston in the 2000s, you never heard that Paul Pierce led that team to a championship. Nope. You heard that the Big Three won the championship. That's what you heard. All those guys. No. No, 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 no. It don't work like that. Don't work like that. Now, if LeBron would have won, took some older players, maybe like Dwayne Wade, Shaq was 10 years plus, not Ray Allen, Gary Payton, Alonzo Mourning, these guys were past their prime. And he led those guys to a championship. What was it, like his second season in the league or something like that? Yes, that's leading a team to a championship. But you can't, LeBron never led a team to a championship. He came together with guys in their primes. And he was just a number one, just like them. Chris Bosh was the number one on another team. Dwayne Wade was the number one on the Heat. We go to Minnesota. Kevin Love was the number one. Kyrie was the number one before LeBron came back to Cleveland. So AD was the number one. Okay? And if you don't want to count Howard, that's fine. But Howard came in the league after LeBron changed. But if you don't want to count Howard and say he's out of his prime, I don't know what to say. You must be saying LeBron's out of his prime. I don't know. But he didn't lead AD to a championship because AD was a number one. So all the teams that LeBron won championships on, he was just with number ones. And they all led each other to a championship. That's it. Now, if you want to say, yeah, he led role players with the rest of his number ones to a championship, that's fine. All those number ones led those role players to a championship. That's fine. But LeBron has never led a team to a championship. Never. Never, ever, 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 ever. Sorry. Can't do it. Won't do it. Can't do it. And if you want to say, oh, man, Kobe, Paul Gasol, he was the number one. Well, I guess you could say that. But guess what? He did it in the LeBron's era. And it wasn't a super team, right? It wasn't a super team. And he the fact that, Gilbert Arenas leaves that out, that LeBron won those back-to-back MVPs in Kobe's face, but Kobe won the championships. Give me the championships any day over those MVPs. Michael Jordan put up 37, 5, and 5. And guess what? Didn't even get the MVP. The next season, he put up 35, I think, was like 6 and 5, and 3 steals, and 1.7 blocks. And he won the championship and Defensive Player of the Year. The next season, Michael Jordan put up 32, 8, and 8. You know what they said? It's not good enough. And he had like almost 3 steals, 2.9 and 0.8 blocks, and he shot like 53% from the field and 85% from the line, and they said that's not good enough. That's not good enough. That's incredible. So, yeah, you can have the MVPs. Kobe will take the championships because ultimately that's what all players play for, right? Bill Russell didn't say, hey, man, I'll take an MVP over a championship. Nope. Yeah. Will Chamberlain might have been the best player in the league all those years, but Bill Russell said, I'll take these championships. Michael Jordan wasn't playing for MVPs. I mean, he might have in the early 80s because he didn't have a team, but ultimately you play for a championship. You play for championships. And the fact that LeBron, the next season, 2010-11, built that super team just shows you that he was scared. He was still scared to play Kobe. He was like, man, okay, I melted down in 2009, 2010. I didn't want to play Kobe because Kobe was going to destroy me. And what Gilbert Arenas fails to realize also, I should have put it up on this video, but I just rushed and made this video off the dome because I seen the video of Kwame Brown and Gilbert Arenas. Gilbert Arenas talks in circles, man. How can I know he don't believe a quarter of the things he says? A quarter, a quarter. This guy ain't that dumb. He's not that dumb. He just says this stuff just to get views, just to get people, even the people who are going to diss him, disagree with him, they're still going to put him up and talk about him. So this is still going to get him views, still put him in the public and all this stuff. So he don't believe half the stuff he says. It doesn't make no sense. And then when he contradicts himself, and then when he get caught in a lie, he just stack a lie on top of another lie or talk the other way. That's all he'll do. And anyways, yeah, so LeBron went the next year, built this super team because he was scared that Kobe was going to four-peat, or not four-peat, well, four-peat as far as going to 4 straight championships, and he just won back-to-back. But this will be his crutch, right? Because LeBron James, he's not this all-around player. He's this all-around stat player, but he's not this all-around player. He can't give you no paint work. 35% from the three for his career, 37% from the mid-range for his career. 73, 74% from the free throw line. He's not this all-around player. Magic Johnson shot 80-something% from the line. Was it 85 or something from the line? Grabbed you 7 boards, gave you 12 assists, shot over 50% from the field. And that's an all-around player. And yes, he only gave you 20 points, but shooting over 50%, that's good for a perimeter player. Was a better defensive player. Won the steals title, I think, 2 times. Got like 4 assist titles. His rebounds mean more because he got more offensive rebounds. He rebounded against great power forwards, against great centers. So this is what you call an all-around great player. Or Scottie Pippen. I would take Scottie Pippen over LeBron James. Or I would take Jason Kidd. Jason Kidd averaged like 7 rebounds as a guard, as a point guard. So that's a better all-around player than LeBron James. And, these guys' stats that I'm talking about wasn't just stat padding. They came at crucial moments of the game. And, yeah, so he went to Miami so he can cover all bases. Oh, I can't shoot the free throws, can't shoot the mid-range, can't give you no paint work, can't shoot threes. So, and if you think because he's shooting good now, his last 2 years, no. 35% for his career. No, I think it's 34, right? I think it's 34, 35. For his era, that's not good, especially for how many shots he done took per game. So he goes to Miami, and we will never know because Kobe didn't make it back to the finals. I mean, for you to make it back to the finals 4 times in that West would be so ridiculous. Now, for LeBron to make it to the finals 4 straight times in the East, that's a cakewalk. That's a cakewalk. The competition ain't there. It's not there. And he was going to build this super team. So if he did have to run into Kobe, he would have all kind of help. All kind of help now. Kobe Bryant has 1 Hall of Famer and not a super team. And LeBron James now has a super team in a rebuilt roster around the super team. And they would make excuses for this guy. They was, oh, man, this is Kobe's 4th time in the finals. What do you expect for LeBron James, man? Him going against Kobe, man. This guy's unstoppable. His team is all this and that. That's the excuse they would make why LeBron would need a super team to play Kobe Bryant. But we all know Dirk Nowitzki. He took care of that. And it's a wrap. That's the second biggest meltdown of a superstar, right? 2011. So 2 meltdowns in the finals. The media acts like 2007 didn't happen. Yes, it happened. Michael Jordan at 22, what was he doing? Breaking the all-time scoring record in the playoffs, having no help, just like LeBron claims he had no help, and he was playing against one of the greatest teams of all time, the Boston Celtics. In, what was it, 80? I think it was 86, coming off of a broken foot. And he could have won one of those games, but I guess they didn't count the 3 back then because it was a buzzer beater. I don't know what the hell happened as far as that's concerned, but I don't know, man. I'm not sure how that works. I think Sports and Fitness Rants, he did a video on that, but no, he didn't hit a 3. He shot a 3, got fouled, and he went to the line and he was only awarded 2 free throws, even though he got fouled shooting a three. If he would have got 3 foul shots like he was supposed to for getting fouled at the 3-point line, they would have won that series. And actually, they would have. I mean, not that series, that game. And actually, they were beating up on Boston in that game. And his teammates were who were Orlando Woolridge. These guys were breaking it up. Now, Orlando Woolridge did have a good game, basically all the rest of the game. But in the fourth quarter, when the Celtics came back, is when Orlando Woolridge and the rest of his team, Jordan's team, was breaking it up. If they would have just stayed consistent, basket for basket or basket every other basket, they would have won that game. But yeah, that's what Michael Jordan was doing at 22. He was playing one of the greatest teams of all time, the '86 Celtics. He wasn't playing. he wasn't playing Detroit without Ben Wallace at 22 years old. He wasn't playing. I hate to say it, Jason Kidd and Vince Carter was on that team, and I told you guys, man, Vince Carter is a great player, but to think that you can't even, when you say his name, you're not saying top 75 player, that's crazy. To think that he never went to the finals ever, and to think that LeBron went to the finals at 22, but Vince Carter didn't raise his level of play when he had Jason Kidd. Jason Kidd went to 2 straight finals with who was this? Oh, Kerry Kittles and what's this guy's name that be slurping LeBron all the time? You guys know who I'm talking about. He was a high flyer too. Forget guys at the tip of my tongue. Yeah, but this guy, he's real fruity to me. He might as well come out. But yeah, Jason Kidd went to back-to-back finals with those guys. And you're trying to tell me Vince Carter couldn't make it to the finals against a LeBron James team that supposedly had nobody? Vince Carter's career is a failure to me. It's a failure. Where's all the great clutch moments in the playoffs for Vince Carter? I don't see him, man. All we think about Vince Carter is a whole bunch of dunks. That's it. And I don't even think he has a whole bunch of all NBA first teams. I know he has a whole bunch of all-star games, a whole bunch of all-star teams. But man, this guy's career is a disappointment. Yeah, but Michael Jordan wasn't playing these guys when he was young. Melting down Vince Carter's and the Detroit Pistons without Ben Wallace and the Gilbert Arenases who was breaking it up with the Washington Wizards. These type of teams. Did LeBron James play great against those teams? Yes. Yes, he was a great player at the time. But I'm just saying he's 22 years old. You're supposed to be better than him as being Vince Carter. The so-called next Michael Jordan, one of the guys that was supposed to, carry the league in the 2000s. And I told you guys, the worst mistake Vince Carter probably had in his career was him and Tracy McGrady going separate ways. Now, we all know we can't really hate on them because of the money aspect, but if they would have stayed together, that would have been unstoppable right there in Toronto. That would have been unstoppable. If you're talking about winning championships versus status and money, you got to pick one, man. You got to pick one. And you might say, oh, man, it's not enough touches. It don't matter, man. Great players played together regardless. The big three Celtics, those Pistons teams of the 90s or the late 80s, the 90s, a lot of teams. The Lakers, the Celtics, the 60s Celtics, Durant and Curry, they played together. You got to make it work, man. If you're talking about you want to win championships, you got to make that work. You got to make that work. Even, LeBron, when he built his super teams, right? He wanted to win championships. He didn't really care about touches per se. He wanted to win championships. He knew he couldn't win championships, without building a super team, like most players could. But I'm just using examples. If Tracy McGrady and Vince Carter would have stayed together, it would have been better for them. They would have won championships. And I know they tried to put Tracy McGrady with Grant Hill, but Grant Hill he never came back from that ankle injury. But yeah, this is Gilbert Arenas. This is he's just a branch off of the Nick Rice, the Shannon Sharps, and all these other buffoons that lie. This is the stuff we got to deal with in sports now. Well, the NBA sports league is dealing with these guys that lie. And I want to make a video. And I don't know, we probably can say it now. I don't want to hear nothing. When LeBron James retires, I do not want to hear nothing when these allegations come out or anything else comes out about this guy. I don't want to hear nothing from Nick Wright, Stephen A. Smith, Shannon Sharp, Kendrick Perkins. All these dudes has been dribbling on LeBron's pole for all these years and telling these lies. I do not want to hear nothing. Don't try to backpedal when something comes out. It doesn't have to per se be the allegations of him drinking juice, but anything that proves that, his greatness was fabricated, because these guys fabricated it. Don't act like you didn't know something when everybody's been talking about it for this long. I heard something about Ryan Clark talking about, LeBron's son. Oh, it's not right what he's doing with his son and all this stuff. And dude, we've been saying this. His son, taking private planes, his son not going on away games with the G League. We do not want to hear it, Ryan Clark. We've been saying this. I'm sick of dudes in ESPN, Fox, and the big media trying to come up and say stuff after we've been saying it. You ain't saying nothing new. I done heard stuff from Charles Barkley. We've been saying this, bro. I done heard stuff from Shaq. We've been saying this, man. Where you at? You guys should have been saying this stuff first, right? You guys are on TV. You guys got the biggest voice. You should be calling this stuff out firsthand. Stephen A. Smith talking about, you calling out LeBron for stat padding this year. But because he ain't got no choice because his team ain't playing defense, they ain't showing up. Like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? LeBron don't play no. And then he says LeBron is exempt from playing defense because he's 40 years old. What about the other years? This guy ain't played defense for years. You're talking about exempt from playing defense now? He ain't been. If you're not holding your own feet to the fire, you can never hold your other teammates' feet to the fire for playing defense. They're not going to play defense if you don't play defense. They're not going to practice if you don't practice. You got to be the example. You're still basically the face of the league because that's all the media talks about. A 3-time MVP in 4 years, about to be a 4-time MVP, Joker. They don't even talk about this guy. This guy should be front headline news of the NBA, of ESPN, of Fox Sports every single day. I don't care how much I hate on Joker and I say he couldn't play in the 80s and 90s, this and that. I don't care about that. He's still doing what he's supposed to do. If the league is soft and weak and there's no defense, he's doing what he's supposed to do. Luka, I don't know about him this year, but, the past 3-4 years, he's been doing what he's supposed to do. Giannis is putting up numbers. He's doing what he's supposed to do, right? That's what these guys are supposed to do in a soft, weak era. So these guys should be talked about number one in the headlines. It shouldn't be LeBron James. You're on a losing team. You're not putting up big stats. You're 40 years old. Congratulations. You did your thing in the NBA over the years, whatever that was, and you were the toast of the town, the talk of the NBA. You had your moment. It's over. It's other guys. You haven't won an MVP since 2013. How could you be the face and the talk of the NBA, and the NBA saying, oh, well, he needs more help. What's he going to do? Where's he going to go? All this stuff. Who cares? After 2018, this guy was 3-6 in the finals after building 2 super teams. And then we're talking about, well, what's he going to do? Where's he going to go? Who cares? 2 statistical titles. Well, 1 statistical title at that point in 2018. 3-6. I think he lost 4-1 like twice in the finals or something like that. 2 sweeps. Some 4-2 he lost in the finals. What is it? What else is there to talk about? And as soon as he won a bubble championship, after he didn't make the playoffs the year before, he won a bubble championship when people were sick and dying and didn't even watch it. Nobody watched this. He was back in the GOAT debate at 4-6. And they started talking about, okay, looks like he can get to 4-6, 6-6. So the next year, not the next year, he gets beat by Phoenix in the playoffs, I think the first round. And then the next year, he builds a super duper team and don't even make the playoffs. I think he didn't even make the play-in or something like that. So, Gilbert Areans, what is this? What is this guy still fighting for this guy about? I don't understand. What's the whole discussion? His career was a failed career. That's it. The 27, 7, and 7 did not work. It didn't work in Cleveland when he was melting down in 2009, 2010 in the playoffs with the number 1 seed in the MVP back-to-back seasons. It didn't work when he built both of his super teams, those 27, 7, and 7 stats, because what it is, those aren't, what do you call it? Upper echelon stats, right? When we talk about 7 rebounds at 6'9", 250, and basically the biggest guy in the NBA, 7 rebounds? That's horrible. That's horrible, folks. That's good. It's not great, and it's not upper echelon. 7 assists, that's good. That's not great, and that's not upper echelon. When we talk about rebounds being great and upper echelon, great is 10. Upper echelon is 10 plus. When we talk about assist, 7 assists is good. It's not great, right? Great will be 10 assists. Upper echelon will be 10 plus assists. 27 points. Okay, we could say that's great, but it's not upper echelon per game. And that tells you when you look at his scoring titles, Westbrook has like two. What was it? Don't Joe LMB has like two? I'm talking about guys in his era. Kobe had two. Who else? Kevin Durant has like three or four. If I'm not mistaken, Curry has like two. Just different. I think James Harden has like three or something like that. So his 27 points per game is great, but it's not upper echelon. And what I'm talking about upper echelon is when we talk about you leading the league in scoring. So when we go back to his 27, 7 and 7, it basically meant nothing. Okay, give me 27 and give me 10 rebounds and 7 assists. Okay, give me 27 points per game and give me the opposite, 10 assists and 7 rebounds, or vice versa, something like that. Give me 25 points and give me 12 assists and 9 rebounds. That's upper echelon play right there for his position. And he's not really this. When we look at a Jason Kidd or a Steve Nash or Chris Paul or John Stockton or Magic Johnson, we think about these guys running the offense. We think about these guys going through traffic and making great passes, right? That's what we think about. We think about floor generals. When we think about LeBron, we just talk about, or we think about, or what you should be thinking about, if if you know anything about the NBA, is just a guy who isn't really a floor general, who is a power forward, but claims he's a small forward, right? Because he knows his other great power forwards that would be greater than him. But let's just say he's a small forward. A small forward that always has the ball in his hands. So he just passes to a guy and he shoots. There's no real great plays all game to where you're like, man, this guy's just running the floor through traffic, through big men, through great all-time, defenders and stuff like that. He's making these great passes. No, he just always has the ball in his hand and he throws it to a guy. And that's how he gets his assists. They're not complicated. They're not, you're not like, wow. Now, the play-by-play guys, these guys are idiots. So they will be like, oh my God, I never. Just a regular bounce pass that we've seen from the floor generals that I just named, and they do it all game. So LeBron does it once a game, and they go crazy. I've never seen this. Only LeBron can do this. It's ridiculous, man. It's ridiculous. He's not imagine you see Karl Malone out there dribbling the ball. It looks so ridiculous, right? There's no elegance about it. There's no finesse about it. There's nothing beautiful about him, having handles and doing all kind of moves like Magic Johnson or Jason Kidd or Chris Paul or, these upper echelon passers and stuff like that. These great passers. Not even Kuzi. Kuzi did better passes than this guy. And we can name so many other point guards that was better than him, that were real point guards. This guy is not a point guard. He's a wannabe Magic Johnson. He's nowhere on the level of Magic Johnson. Nowhere on the level. He's never played nowhere the level of competition when we talk about defense that Magic Johnson had to play. Go watch these Magic Johnson games. And I ain't talking about highlights. We refer to these guys bringing the ball up and they're getting trapped. A defender comes up to them, and guess what? They got to dribble backwards with their back to the defender because the defender will steal the ball. Even it don't matter how great of a dribble you are, how great of a floor general you are. That's how great these defenders were on the perimeter back then. You couldn't just sit there and do a James Harden dribble like these guys do today. Russell Westbrook would be getting ripped up and down the damn floor in the 80s and 90s. These guys were elite defenders. Even your guys who weren't making defensive teams will steal the ball from you. You just couldn't sit out there and dribble like that. Although these guys travel and carry, I'm just saying the way these guys dribble out in front of the defender today, that would not happen back in the 80s and 90s. It wouldn't happen. It wouldn't happen. it just wouldn't happen, man. And these guys could put a forearm on you while you're dribbling the ball up, or put a hand check on you. All this stuff like that, man, you couldn't dribble like that in front of them. You couldn't do that. So the LeBron James, he's not even a good dribbler. Watch this guy dribble between his legs. It looks so awkward. It looks crazy. And you watch this guy, we were watching him yesterday. Are you allowed to play defense on this guy? Are you allowed to play defense? Because if you actually defend him and he's going to the cup or make a move and he shoots and he misses, this guy is hysterical. He goes nuts. It's almost like you're not allowed to play any defense on him. And if he misses, it's always a foul. I don't know how many videos I done seen now on social media. This guy going up for a shot, and he knows he's not going to miss it. I mean, he knows he's going to miss it, and then he grabs his face like he got hit. Nobody touched him. Is this a real person? Is this a real person? I ain't talking about a real NBA player. Is this a real person that would do this for basically 22 seasons now? Faking and acting like he got hit and laying on the floor. This is a joke, man. This in the NBA, they pamper this dude and they allow this stuff. And the color analysts, the play-by-play guys, they lie. They lie about this guy. They lie about this guy. It was yesterday. I don't know. He did something. I think he just got a rebound and just put it back up or something like that. Or I forget what it was. But he did not barrel down the lane or do any moves or anything like that. He just laid the ball up. He was already in the paint. And they said, can't stop that freight train. It's just, NBA is hard to watch, man. And, when he retires, are they just going to keep lying for these other players too? Because what they're trying to tell you is, what your eyes see, don't worry about that, buddy. The media's been telling you that for a while. What your eyes see, don't worry about that, buddy. We're on TV. We're going to tell you something different. These guys are bigger, stronger, faster, can shoot better, can dribble better. LeBron James loses all the time because he doesn't have the teammates, or, the competition is just that stiff. Oh, let me get off of here, man. Tell me what you think.